Dark Knight 3 The Master Race is the second sequel to The Dark Knight Returns. The story takes place in a Gotham after Batman has been gone for an indeterminate amount of time, maybe it's been months or years, and now appears that Batman has returned. The first thing I should get out of the way is this isn't the type of story that you should jump into if you haven't read the previous two series. Do not read this one, at least the first issue anyway. The reason for that I feel is because of the writing. Writing wise, this story is a bit hard to get through. There's tons of text and very little exposition, so you don't really know what's going on. I understand that this first issue is to set up what's going to happen for the rest of the series, but when the reader can't get a handle on the characters or whatever situation the issue is showing us, it just makes the story seem stagnant. That being said, one of the things that this first issue did do was show the legacy of Batman. Another interesting thing is this issue was 52 pages long and split into two stories. The Batman one is the main one, and it's about 25 pages long. The second one follows the Atom and Superman's and Wonder Woman's daughter Lara. And it appears a part of the Superman legacy will be one of the driving forces for the rest of the series, and possible the reason for the subtitle, The Master Race. One question I do have is, who truly wrote this? Was it Frank Miller or Brian Azzarello? In the past few days, Frank Miller has admitted that he hates or doesn't like Superman. And this shows in this issue, it shows Superman as cold and impotent. The main focus looks like it's going to be not really Superman, but Superman and Wonder Woman's daughter Lara. In the first story, Lara plays basically a extended cameo, but in the second story, she plays more of a starring role. Art-wise, I can feel Frank Miller's influence on Andy Kuber's art here. It feels more deconstructed. What also makes the artwork feel familiar is Klaus Janson. He's doing the inking on this, and he was Frank Miller's constant inker since Daredevil. The art does seem like an odd mix. For the most part, everything looks like Andy Kubert's regular style, but whenever Wonder Woman or her daughter Lara are on the page, it looks as if Frank Miller drew it. It can be a bit jarring. For the most part, the art is good except for when it tries too hard to be reminiscent of latter-day Frank Miller. Because of some of the artistic choices and the writing, I really can't give this a recommend yet. But the way both stories ended, I am interested enough to continue on with the series. At least one more issue. Next up, Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur #1. It's written by Amy Reeder and Brandon Montclair, and based on their previous works together, we really shouldn't be surprised how fun it is. I suppose you could say this is a spin-off / sequel of the old Moon Boy and Devil Dinosaur stories. Those stories were about a prehistoric boy befriending a red T-Rex and going on adventures in the past and in current Marvel 616 continuity. This series begins with a young girl named Lunella Lafayette, a young, precocious, passionate about science and technology girl. And that's a big part of her problem. She doesn't love science. She loves science. When it comes to that, she's most likely the smartest person, child or adult, at her school. This causes a disconnect between her and her classmates. Because of this, she can't make any friends. We do get to see Moon Boy in this issue, and we get to see what links both he and Lunella. And it's not just Devil Dinosaur. What I like about this story, as with previous works of Brandon Montclair and Amy Reeder, is there isn't any dilly-dallying. We hit the ground running right away, and we received enough info in this issue to 1. Know the setup of the story, 2. What's going on, and 3. Get excited about what's going to happen next. One thing I really do like about this book is it doesn't come off as it's being written just for the trade. Writing-wise, we do get an idea of the main character of Lunella, her personality, and what her personal journey is going to be. While it is a bit obvious what it is going to be, the book doesn't knock you across the head with it. Also, it's nice that she has two parents and not the cliche one or both parents being dead. The issue also cleverly ends on a funny but cute joke. The only negative I have so far is the only characters we really feel anything for is Lunella and maybe Moon Boy. Hopefully future issues will delve more into the other characters as well. Art-wise, the comic is fun to look at. Natasha Bustos' art reminds me of a cross of John Romita Jr. mixed with Amy Reeder. The art is exaggerated just enough to show the appropriate amount of emotion, but not too much more positives are the characters don't suffer from the dreaded same face disease. The children actually look like children, and the character designs are distinct enough that two characters aren't going to look the same. Example, all the prehistoric guys, they look different. I give the first issue a recommend. So far so good. It looks like we're off to a good start. And the last review today is for Archie number 4. It's been alluded to for the last 3 issues, but in this issue we find out what the lipstick incident is. Oh yeah, and Annie Wu takes over for Fiona Staples starting with this issue as well. This issue recounts what led up to the incident and the incident itself. When I initially read this issue, I was disappointed. I thought said incident would have been more traumatic than this. After all, this entire thing could have been resolved if both Archie and Bay each said just 2 words to each other. Then I thought about it and realized, yeah, well, back when I was a teenager, this would have seemed like the worst thing possible as well. So when you have very little experience in something like dating or personal relationships, any obstacle you run into is gonna seem really severe. I do wonder why Bay still hangs out with those 2 girls in the story though, when it's obvious to everyone, and probably even her, that they only have their own selfish interests at heart. You know, maybe she doesn't have any other girlfriends. We don't see her pal around with any other girl, and no, Veronica from last issue doesn't count. Maybe she feels this is the best she can get. Art-wise, Annie Wu's art is good, but it will take me a moment to get used to her after 3 issues by Fiona Staples. Hopefully Annie will stay longer than Fiona did. I don't want this to end up being a new artist every 2 to 3 issues. That will break up the visual continuity. I do recommend this, however, I do wonder how long this storyline will go on. Unless a corresponding storyline pops up in this one as well, I don't know if I'm really willing to read 6 to 10 issues of only this Bay, Archie, and Veronica love triangle. Hopefully Mark Waid won't make this as repetitive as previous Archie love triangles. And that's all I have for right now. If you like this or if you didn't like this, please comment below. You can check my comic playlist for other reviews. And until my next video, goodbye.